some kind of bugs moving. And he decided instantly, wow, this is them who cause sickness. Well, how logical is that? Have you ever seen the fire? Have you ever seen fire in your life? Yes. Was the fire truck next to it? Have the fire truck been there? Always? I bet they caused the fire. Wherever I go, folks, there is the fire truck is right next to it. I bet fire trucks cause the fire. Because they're always where the fire is. When Louis Pasteur expressed that, certain people benefited monetarily right away from creating that kind of fear. And they started to plant this fear in everybody's heads. And if people even didn't believe in that, they thought, what if? I don't want to take a chance when talking about my baby. Ooh. And they started to take certain precautions. On the deathbed, Louis Pasteur said, hey, somebody come to me with a notebook and a pen. I have something important to disclose. And he said, I was wrong. I was mistaken. It's not bacteria that causes disease. It is the disease that attracts bacteria. And you know what? That's been protocoled and that's been published. But the fear already has been planted. And the fear is so hard to get out of the brain. Because when it's fear, it paralyzes us. It directs us into different direction. And we cannot really just trust. We cannot just say, hey. And where did it go? It went now so far away. Today we're totally confused. Today we don't see the real enemy. But we're still afraid of bacteria. So let me be brave and bring some light to that matter. Today we confused bacteria and chemicals. We're not afraid of chemicals. We're paranoid, afraid of bacteria. I am afraid of chemicals. And I have another question for you. Do you think bacteria, when it's rotting, smells bad? Do you think it smells bad? Honestly, what do you think? It smells bad? Please answer.
Yes.
Have you been to the forest?
Yes.
Does it smell bad in the forest?
No.
Does anybody rake leaves in the forest every fall?
No.
Are there any bathrooms in the forest?
No.
Are there any cemeteries in the forest? So all these millions of animals die right there, and birds and snakes and insects and all of those moles and mooses and everybody die there, and nobody rakes leaves and nobody goes to the bathroom. Everybody's just doing it, and mooses and everyone just right there, and it still smells good because the rotten actually doesn't smell very bad. It actually smells like sour. Okay? Or just, it's like sweet. Where does it smell bad? It smells bad in the civilization. Why it does smell bad? I started to brainstorm and I started to make research and I figured out in 1800 humans took crude oil and they divided it into about 80 chemicals. Until then, everything that existed on this planet was created by Creator, by universe, by whatever you believe it, by nature. It was all natural. And it was all biodegradable. Do you agree with that? Yes. And then we took crude oil and we divided it into about 80 different chemicals. Today, just from crude oil, we make 83,000 chemicals. 83,000 different names that are not biodegradable, that cannot be recycled by bacteria, that cannot be anyhow go back into soil and become part of the earth, that we use, that we absolutely need in our life. And poor bacteria, when it's so dedicated and it tries to recycle this unrecyclable stuff like styrofoam, glass, plastic, metal, you name it, it mutates. It mutates. The precious, just normal, good bacteria mutates and it turns into a totally different one, which is very pathogenic bacteria. So who creates pathogenic bacteria? by millions, by zillions. Us, when we enjoy this civilization. Now I want to ask you, how many chemicals do you have under your sink in your house? Just one? Maybe just two? Many. Where do all these chemicals go after we use them? Where do they all go? Don't we know that everything is connected on this planet? Recently they took the blood test from a newborn polar bear near the polar circle, and they found 62 chemicals into newborn blood of polar bear. Where did they come from? Nobody went and sprayed there. How many our newborn babies have when we live right here? Now, the soap. That's a big issue, the soap. They say you have to wash your hands with the soap. So what is soap, what it does? Can you imagine how brave I have to be in order to discuss that in front of people? Well, first let me tell you, I didn't wash my body with soap for 6 years now. Never, even once, for 6 years. Okay? And I don't smell. Well, rarely I wash my hands with a soap. And I'll tell you why. I did research, and God bless the internet. I went into internet and I found an article dated 1812 in Russian magazine. It said, Eureka, French people created rose water. In 1812, create rose water. That was the first predecessor of soap. It was just the water, a few drops of rose in it. That's the first soap. What was the reason? The reason was not to antibacterial. The reason was to smell good. And then they started to develop, but some people figure out when you plant fear in somebody's head, they will buy much more. They will buy it for every family. I went ahead and I read how the Tsar family were washing their linens. They would take their linens to the Moskva River, and they would choose the nice looking girls, and they will make them beat these linens or put lots of clay on linens and sheets, and they'll beat them with round sticks and sing. They had to sing a love song loudly, and then maybe they do it for an hour, then they wash it in the river and then hand out to wind dry, and that's the Tsar will sleep on that. No bleach, no chemicals. So if you ever sleep on things like that, you sleep like a Tsar. There are several very wonderful books right now published about natural bacteria that we all have, as all living things have. If you don't use soap, then you have very good bacteria covering your entire body. That's protective bacteria, like acidophilus, bifidum, like good bacteria, very healthy. It's healthy to have this bacteria because this bacteria is there on guard and it will not let any pathogenic bacteria get inside your body. You don't want pathogenic bacteria to get inside. But the best protection is your own good bacteria that covers your body. The soap instantly destroys it, opens the gates, and you cannot stop it because you never know. Now we're so afraid of bathrooms, and I've seen women doing that. They go around and just doing that. Now can you tell me what's the difference between bathroom door and the handle on the cart in the store and the door, any handle of any door in the church, in the store, in your house, in hotel, in a restaurant? Is there any difference? I would think the only difference is the door in the bathroom has more chemicals on it. How do I wash my hands? I just wash them for a long time in lots of water. I read how people washed their hands before they had soap, before they invented soap. They were washing it with dirt, with clay, with sand. In India, they wash it with ash. And in different countries, clay. And I tried to even wash my hair and my body with the dirt when I was in the wilderness. You know, my family lived for 6 months in the wilderness. And it was the best, but it will clog the sink, so I cannot do it at home. So whenever I wash my hands, I make sure I wash it long time. If I want to conserve water, I'll put it in the bowl, and like in old times, I wash it long time in the bowl.